Jai Gajanan. Welcome to the St. Mahima podcast. In this podcast, we seek to understand the divine lives, sacred leelas, and timeless teachings of the great saints through our sacred spiritual grants. In today's episode, we will reflect on Adhyay 4 of Shri Gajanan Vijay Granth and discover the spiritual wisdom it offers to guide us in our daily lives.
It's truly a profound chapter for us to explore today.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I want to ask you, the listener, a quick question before we get into it. Have you ever felt like you missed out on something incredibly valuable just simply because of your own pride?
Oh, that's a tough one to admit.
Right, like you're standing right in front of this massive life-changing opportunity, but your ego just completely blinds you to it.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there in some way.
Well, today we are looking at texts that reveal exactly how that happens and, more importantly, how we can kind of strip away that ego to find a genuine connection with the divine. So we are jumping right into our deep dive of Adhyay 4. And right from the opening lines, there's this really expansive invocation that sets up, well, basically everything we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, the invocation is just, it's breathtaking because it immediately addresses the Almighty, calling upon Nilkantha, Gangadhara, Mahakal, Trimbakeshwara, and Shri Omkara.
And those are all sacred names and forms of Lord Shiva, right?
Exactly. But then the text does something deeply philosophical.
Right.
It explicitly states that this divine form and Lord Vishnu are one and the same, just as water is to aqua.
I love that metaphor so much. Water to aqua.
It's so simple, but so deep.
It really is. It speaks directly to you, the listener, about how we all tend to, compartmentalize spirituality. We put different names on things. We argue over the packaging.
Right, the labels.
Yeah, exactly. But the substance underneath is identical.
Precisely. It completely dissolves those rigid boundaries that our human minds just love to construct around the divine. It establishes this foundational truth for the entire deep dive today. People might worship different forms based on their personal affinity, but the essence is universal.
But then, looking at my notes here, the text shifts from this massive cosmic perspective to something that feels incredibly intimate.
Oh, yeah.
The speaker describes themselves as an innocent child craving love from a mother, and they recognize the divine as a kalpataru.
A wish-fulfilling tree, in the celestial realms.
Right. So it grounds this vast, universal energy into literally the most vulnerable relationship possible. A child and a mother, or, a seeker and a wish-fulfilling tree.
It sets a beautiful tone.
It really does. And that vulnerability is exactly what gets tested in the very first story I want us to look at.
Ah, the goldsmith story.
Yes, the story of Jankiram the goldsmith. So this takes place in Vidarbha on the day of Akshaya Tritiya, which is, a major, highly auspicious celebration.
Very important day, yeah.
People are offering earthen pitchers of water to their forefathers. And Shri Gajanan Maharaj is staying at the house of a devotee named Bankatlal.
Right.
And he's just sitting with some boys and simply asks them to fill his pipe with tobacco and light it.
A completely mundane, everyday request.
Yeah.
Just, asking for a light.
Exactly. But the boys can't find fire anywhere in the house. So Bankatlal suggests they go to Jankiram, the local goldsmith, because, well, goldsmiths always ignite their furnaces first thing in the morning.
Makes logical sense.
Right. So the boys go over and just ask for a single tiny piece of ignited coal for Maharaj's pipe. And looking at the text here, Jankiram just explodes with rage. He absolutely refuses.
He refuses based on his own rigid superstitions. He genuinely believes that giving away fire on the morning of Akshaya Tritiya will bring bad luck to his business.
And I need to stop and ask you about this, because it's not just a polite, superstitious refusal.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like, when the boys mention the fire is for Shri Gajanan Maharaj, Jankiram just unleashes a torrent of vitriol.
He does.
He insults Maharaj, saying he has no caste, that he remains naked, drinks sewage water, and behaves like a madman. He even challenges his authority, saying, if he is truly a saint, he should create fire out of thin air like St. Jalandhar did.
Yeah, he really goes after him.
Why such a visceral, hateful reaction to a simple request for a piece of coal?
Well, it's because Jankiram is entirely consumed by the fire of his own ego and his social status.
Ah, okay.
When he looks at Shri Gajanan Maharaj, he sees only what his conditioned, judgmental mind allows him to see. He's totally obsessed with societal norms, caste hierarchy, all those external appearances.
Right.
To Jankiram, holiness has to look a certain way. It has to follow the rules. And because Maharaj operates completely outside those material rules, Jankiram's ego feels threatened, and, that threat just manifests as sheer hostility.
It reminds me of a scenario where you're handed a priceless ancient diamond, but because it's handed to you in a battered, dusty cardboard box, you just throw the whole thing in the trash.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah. You just completely miss the treasure because you are obsessing over the lack of shiny velvet packaging. Jankiram is standing in the literal presence of the divine, but he's blinded by the dusty box.
He is, and the way Maharaj responds to this hostility is it's a masterclass in how divine grace operates.
Oh, definitely.
Because he doesn't argue with Jankiram, he doesn't defend his honor or get angry back.
I was reading this part and just smiling to myself. The boys come back empty-handed and disappointed, and Maharaj just takes the pipe, asks Bankat Lal to hold a completely unlit matchstick over it, and instantly the matchstick ignites itself.
Just like that.
He just bypasses Jankiram entirely. But how? What is the mechanism there?
I think the contrast is the key here.
Huh.
Look at Jankiram. He hoards his literal physical fire out of pride and a scarcity mindset.
Right.
Maharaj, however, doesn't need to hoard anything because his will is completely aligned with the underlying fabric of reality. He demonstrates the effortless fire of divine will. The elements themselves obey a realized Sadguru, but the universe wasn't done with Jankiram. Because that level of ego, it always invites a harsh correction.
And it happens immediately. So Jankiram is hosting this massive, prestigious feast for Akshaya Tritiya. And the centerpiece of this feast is a special tamarind curry.
A big deal for him.
Huge deal. But when they bring it out to serve the guests, the curry is absolutely crawling with small, dirty worms.
Oh, terrible.
It is completely ruined. The guests leave hungry, and Jankiram faces total public humiliation.
It is a sudden, sharp dismantling of his pride. I mean, the worms aren't just bad luck, right? They are a physical manifestation of the internal rot of his own arrogance.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And in that crushing moment of humiliation, absolute clarity just strikes him. He realizes this disaster is the direct, karmic result of how he treated Shri Gajanan Maharaj that morning.
And his realization is actually quite heartbreaking to read. He tells himself that Maharaj is the pure water of Janhavi, the sacred river Ganges. He calls him a kalpavriksha, the wish-fulfilling tree, and a chintamani, the wish-granting gem. He realizes he had all of that at his doorstep, and he treated him like a beggar. He even calls himself an animal of 2 legs.
That is a brutal self-assessment, but a necessary one.
Yeah.
He realizes that human life, if it's devoid of spiritual vision and humility, is really no different from animal existence.
So he takes this pot of worm-infested curry, runs over to Bankat Lal's house, and just throws himself at Maharaj's feet.
Full surrender.
Yeah. He confesses everything in front of everyone. He says, "You are Lord Shiva in Shegaon, and I did not recognize you." He begs for pardon.
But this is the part where I really need your insight.
Okay, sure.
Because Maharaj doesn't just say, "I forgive you." He says, "You are telling a lie, your curry is fine, and there are no worms in it." And instantly, the curry is perfectly clean. How does that even work?
So think of it like a software developer who has root admin access to a computer system.
When we make a mistake, we might try to patch it up or apologize for the error. But a Sadguru is one with the creator. He has admin access to reality's source code, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when Maharaj says, "Your curry is fine," he isn't just ignoring the mistake. He is literally deleting the bug from the system. He rewrites reality in that moment.
That is incredible.
When surrender is absolute, divine grace doesn't just forgive the past. It completely heals the fabric of reality that our ego has broken.
That concept of absolute surrender transitions us perfectly into the next story in my notes.
Yes, the next Leela.
Because we've just seen how ego taints a grand feast. But what happens when you don't have a grand feast to offer? What happens when your offering seems, well, completely inadequate?
Exactly.
So we move to the hot summer month of Jeshta. Devotees are gathered around Maharaj, desperately trying to keep him cool. They are fanning him, offering him fresh mangoes, sugar balls, sandalwood paste.
Just trying to give him the best they have.
Right. But Maharaj surprises everyone and rejects all the fresh food.
He specifically asks for 2 kanholes, which is a type of traditional snack or sweet, that are currently sitting in an earthen pitcher at the house of a devotee named Chandu Mukin.
Yes. And Chandu is sitting right there in the crowd, totally confused.
I bet.
He says he doesn't have any kanholes ready, but he will gladly go have some made fresh. But Maharaj insists. He wants the specific ones already sitting in the closed pitcher in Chandu's house.
And this is just a beautiful demonstration of omniscience, because Maharaj's physical eyes are in the gathering, But his divine vision pierces straight through the walls of Chandu's home and right into a closed clay pot.
So, Chandu rushes home and asks his wife for the Kanholes, and she is absolutely horrified.
Understandably.
She tells him those were prepared a whole month ago, back on Akshaya Tritiya.
Yeah.
Now, I have to push back on this a bit because it defies all logic.
Go for it.
We are talking about month-old food sitting in a clay pot during the peak of an Indian summer. From a strictly scientific, logical standpoint, that food should be a massive health hazard.
Oh, absolutely.
Why on earth would a great saint reject beautiful, fresh mangoes for something that should be completely inedible?
Because, you are looking at it through the lens of physical laws. But grace operates on a totally different metric. The divine hungers only for pure devotion, not material perfection.
Okay, that makes sense.
When Chandu's wife reluctantly retrieves the Kanholes, they find a miracle. They haven't hardened, they haven't spoiled, they are miraculously fresh. Matter is entirely subservient to the consciousness of a saint.
Wow. So Chandu brings them to Maharaj, and Maharaj eats them with such joy. And the text makes a very specific comparison here, saying he ate them as happily as Shri Ram eating the fruits offered by Shabari.
Yeah, that parallel is essential for you to understand this Leela.
Tell me more about that.
Well, Shabari was a simple, forest-dwelling devotee, and when Lord Ram visited her, she offered him wild berries. But to ensure they were sweet, she took a bite out of each one first.
Right, which by strict ritual standards, offering half-eaten food is deeply impure.
Exactly. But Lord Ram accepted them over the grand feasts of kings because those berries were saturated with her pure love. Shri Gajanan Maharaj eating the month-old Kanholes is the exact same principle.
Ah, I see.
The physical state of the offering is totally irrelevant. The devotion baked into it is the only thing the saint actually consumes.
Think about what that means for us today. We spend so much time obsessing over the packaging of our offerings to the world. We worry if our career is impressive enough, if our relationships look perfect, if our spiritual practice is, rigorous enough.
We do. We constantly worry about that.
But this story tells us that grace doesn't care about the packaging. It only measures the love inside.
It is a profound comfort. But Adhyay 4 doesn't let us get too comfortable.
No, it certainly doesn't.
Having explored daily devotion, it now forces us to confront the ultimate deadline. It asks, what happens when you haven't lived a life of devotion and time has essentially run out?
Yeah, the story of Madhav, the Brahmin from Chinchuli. This part of the text is incredibly sobering.
Very much so.
Madhav is old, weak, and the text is blunt about his past. It says he wasted his entire youth seeking material pleasure. Now, his wife and children are dead. He has hit rock bottom, totally alone and empty-handed.
He realizes that everything he chased was temporary, and he entirely forgot the Almighty. The terror of his impending death has finally woken him up.
Out of sheer desperation, he comes to Shri Gajanan Maharaj's door. He sits there fasting and just chanting, Narayan, Narayan.
Right.
But I was shocked reading this part. Maharaj doesn't immediately comfort this dying man. In fact, he gives him a very harsh warning.
He does.
He tells Madhav that trying to remember God only now is like digging a well when the house is already on fire, or, calling a doctor after the patient has died.
It sounds harsh, I know, but Maharaj is pointing out the inescapable mechanics of karma. Actions bear fruit. You just cannot cheat the process.
But wait, hold on. This man is elderly, dying, and desperate for comfort. Isn't a Sadguru supposed to be a wellspring of instant compassion?
Well, yes.
It just feels almost cruel to tell him he's too late. It's like a student who skipped class all semester, didn't buy the textbook, and shows up to the professor in tears the night before the final exam. Sure, it's the student's fault, but you still expect some mercy.
I get that.
Yeah.
But true compassion isn't always gentle. Sometimes it is surgical.
Surgical. Yeah.
Maharaj is applying tough love. Because Madhav is still trapped in illusion, he isn't chanting out of pure love for God. He is chanting out of the fear of death.
Ah, I didn't think of it that way.
Right. So to truly save him, Maharaj has to break that final illusion. Madhav doesn't give up his fast, so Maharaj initiates the midnight test.
This scene is genuinely terrifying. It is pitch dark. Suddenly, Maharaj changes his human form into the terrifying form of Yama, the god of death.
It's intense.
He manifests this massive open jaw, rushing at Madhav as if to swallow him whole. Madhav is completely dumbfounded. His heart is throbbing, and he literally turns and runs away in sheer terror.
And then Maharaj returns to his normal form and scolds him. He asks, "Is this the boldness that you have got?" He explains that what Madhav just saw was a glimpse of Yamaluk, the realm of death, and you cannot run away from it when the real time comes.
I understand the tough love concept, but scaring a dying man with a vision of hell.
You have to look at the psychological breakthrough it causes, though. Madhav was clinging to his biological life. The sudden, visceral terror of Yama shattered that clinging completely. The shock treatment worked.
It totally works. Madhouse stops running. His whole demeanor changes. He begs to be saved from Yamaluk, but he also says he doesn't want this earthly life anymore either.
Exactly.
He begs for Vaikuntha, the ultimate spiritual realm of Lord Vishnu, a place entirely free from the cycle of birth and death.
Notice how Maharaj tests him one final time to be absolutely sure.
Oh, right.
He offers to extend Madhav's lifespan. He says, if you still want to live, tell me.
But Madhow refuses the bait. He says, I do not want to live anymore. This world is all unreal, and that is the exact moment of salvation.
Yes. When Madhav truly, finally lets go of his desire for the transient material world, Maharaj grants his ultimate wish with a single word. Tathastu, so be it. He guarantees Madhav will not be reborn on this earth.
Madhow loses all worldly responses and dies peacefully right there at the feet of Shri Gajanan Maharaj. It's an incredible testament to the unfathomable grace of a saint.
Truly incredible.
A whole lifetime of material obsession wiped clean by one moment of absolute unwavering surrender at the very end.
It proves that while karma is a strict law, the grace of a Sadguru can override it, provided the surrender is genuine.
So we've gone from the microscopic scale of one man's soul to something much grander as the chapter closes out. From an individual salvation, the text moves to a beautiful example of cosmic alignment regarding the recitation of the Vedas.
Yeah, this final story perfectly illustrates the difference between human striving, which we saw with Jankiram, and divine flow.
Maharaj expresses a simple wish to listen to the sacred recitation of the Vedas, but his devotees immediately stress out.
Of course they do.
They tell him that learned Brahmins capable of properly reciting these ancient texts just aren't available in their area anymore. It seems logistically impossible.
But Maharaj doesn't argue, plan, or stress. He calmly tells the devotees to make the necessary preparations and assures them the Brahmins will arrive the very next day.
The devotees trust him, collect 100 rupees for the arrangements, and wait. And sure enough, at exactly noon the next day, a team of highly learned Vedic scholars simply arrives in Shegaon.
It's just out of nowhere.
Yeah. They recite the Vedas beautifully before Maharaj, receive their dakshina, their traditional honorarium, and peacefully depart. I'm just marveling at how effortless this is. How did they know to come?
Because a true Sadguru has no selfish desires. We established at the very beginning that the divine is a Kalpataru, and Maharaj is one with that divine.
Right.
When a saint's will is perfectly, seamlessly aligned with the universe, there is no friction. The universe automatically rearranges itself to deliver exactly what is needed. The scholars didn't need an invitation. The divine will drew them there naturally. The text concludes by noting that God always fulfills the desires of the saints, which is a tradition Bankat Lal's descendants continued every year.
We have journeyed through some truly incredible spiritual territory today. We watched Jankiram's massive ego get dismantled and then healed by grace. We saw Chandu Mukin's stale offering transformed into a feast by pure devotion.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. We witnessed Madhow's tragic, wasted life redeemed at the literal last second. And we saw the effortless arrival of Vedic scholars orchestrated by divine will.
Adhyay 4 offers us a complete toolkit for navigating existence. It reminds us that whether you are cooking a meal for a guest, facing a terrifying dead end in your career, or confronting your own mortality, the only things that hold actual lasting value are pure devotion and the courage to drop your ego.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over. Think back to Madhav, terrified by the sudden appearance of Yama in the dark, only to realize it was actually his Sadguru breaking his final illusions to set him free.
A powerful moment.
Look at your own life right now. What if the biggest obstacles, the harshest rejections, or the most frightening dead ends you are facing aren't actually punishments at all? What if they were just a Sadguru's way of testing your boldness, forcing you to let go of a lesser reality so you can finally grasp something eternal?
That is a profound question to carry forward.
May Sadguru Shri Gajanan Maharaj bless us with devotion, humility, wisdom, and the strength to live our daily lives according to his teachings. Shri Gajanan Maharaj ki jai. Gajanan.